Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. In this video, I'm going to sew the buttonholes onto the back of the shirt. Now, since this shirt is for a little fella, I want the buttonholes to be on the left side and the buttons to be on the right side. Now, let me click my buttonhole template back to the very end. I'm using, once again, my Singer, let's see if you can see this, my Singer buttonhole attachment. I've got my 3/8 inch cam or template inside of it. This particular buttonholer, it comes with a series. This is a 5/16, but it comes with a series of templates, and it makes perfectly lovely buttonholes that are exactly the same size every time. I like to use this because I can make very small buttonholes. My newer sewing machine has a buttonholer foot that you have to put the little button into the buttonhole foot attachment. But when I'm using really tiny buttons, half the time the buttons fall out. Okay, so once again, I've got this click to the back. Now I'm going to keep my fabric perpendicular to the foot of the buttonholer. Bring it in here. I'm going to drop my needle so that it goes in the blue dot I made that represents the end of the buttonhole. Get in there real nicely. Okay, I got the needle. I'm going to drop the presser foot down and just kind of I got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 5 buttonholes to make. So very slowly, I'm going to proceed to sew the first buttonhole. You know, I think there are some of the newer, very expensive machines that make these pretty old-fashioned buttonholers, but my machine is not one of them. So I like the buttonholes that this old-fashioned buttonholer creates much better. Let me clip my threads, and then we'll inspect our buttonhole. Clip them from behind. And that buttonhole is just perfectly lovely, and it started right on the little blue dot where I wanted it to. Okay, so let me click to the back of the buttonhole again. There. Okay, we'll move to the next buttonhole position. I'll drop my needles and make sure I'm going in the blue line or the blue dot. Then drop my presser foot. I've got my fabric at a perpendicular angle to the presser foot. And then I will proceed to make another buttonhole. You know, these old-fashioned buttonholers are still available. I think you can, they're kind of almost a dime a dozen. You can find them on eBay. Finding the appropriate template sizes, you may have to do a little bit of searching because I'm not sure. I've got a 3/8 inch template in here right now, but the template for the 1/4 inch buttons and the 1/2 inch buttons and the 3/8 inch buttons, I don't think they came standard with the vintage buttonholer attachment because, people used to, it's like I don't, maybe people were making buttonholes by hand on children's clothes. I'm not really sure. But they sold buttonhole templates that were mainly for adults. Okay, so that's my second buttonhole, and I've got 3 more to do. And the process will simply just repeat itself. I'll click back to the back of my template again, line up with the dot, lower the needle, then drop the presser foot and start sewing. But I'll finish these other 3 buttonholes off camera. Okay, I've got all 5 buttonholes sewn now, and they're, they're just lovely. I really enjoy using this little vintage buttonhole maker. Okay, so I just wanted to also mention like I mentioned, the cams. This is one that's 1/2 inch, but each cam has a different size depending on what size your buttonhole is going to be. So I've got a 5/16 that I use for 1/4 inch buttons, a 5/8 that I'm going to be using for the button-on buttons for the shorts, and this is a 1/2 inch button that I use occasionally. But like I said, these buttonhole attachments are available. Like I said, they're not very expensive. They're nearly a dime a dozen on eBay, but you may have to do a little bit of searching, and you may pay a little bit more of a premium price to get some of the other buttonhole templates that don't come standard with the attachment itself. But sewing the buttonholes on the back of the shirt on the left side of the shirt was what we were doing today. Thank you.